Hello and welcome to the Darby Creek Diaries. I'm so glad to be here. I'm sorry it's been a minute. I'm Gail Thompson and today I'm going to just do a quick layering stencil video, tips and when you don't have the dies, what to do. I'm using stencils from the Greetery. This has been on my desk a while. I'm so glad to get to use it. It's super easy to use and very forgiving, and it does beautiful pinwheels. There are lots and lots of stencils, but I'm just going to use the sets of the pinwheels. The first one I'm using is A1, and I'm shoving it up into the corner of my water mat by Waffle Flower. Instead of having to make hinges and all of that, this is just as easy. You just shove your card in the corner and your stencil and off we go. I'm putting a light layer of ink, just as light as I can do it, with Catherine Puller's ink. I can't think of the name of it right now, but I will later. I'm not pressing down because I'm going to use the same pad, which is another tip. But to make something darker, you can use the same ink and just keep reapplying it for some layers, or just making it really heavy. This is stencil A2, and I'm just going to shove that in the corner. Don't have to clean my stencil because we're going back with the same color. Easy peasy. Now I'm really putting some muscle in it, and which is no small feat with my shoulder, but it's just Catherine Puller's inks are very juicy. So these are good inks to try with that. I wouldn't maybe try it with a pad that's kind of dried out, but I'm just kind of almost scrubbing it in. And now we're going to see our completed part 1. Isn't that beautiful? I just love it. Now we're going to go to part 2, and this is another one. This is Lime Ricky because I just saw the label. The other one was All That Jazz. And I'm just going to do the same thing using B1. I'm going to shove it in the corner. Isn't that easy? Instead of the tape and the glue and all, the sprays. Just putting a light layer for my first layer. You could do this in any order. There are lots and lots of possibilities with this. When I bought this set, they were sold out of the dies. So I'm going to show you a tip and a kind of an epic fail later on what to do about that. Now we're going to B2. Couldn't get any simpler. There's also an etching there on how to do an A2 card either horizontal or vertically. You can kind of see it there by my pinky. Now I'm going in with my green really heavy. And I decided that I wasn't getting it heavy enough with that, so I went in with a domed blender. Part of that is just I don't have any strength in my arm right now. But I'm getting surgery in the fall, and I will hopefully be good as new. So there is our first side. Now, I thought it might be fun to just do it on both sides and just leave a little bit of white in the middle. And I flipped it over. You could flip it over and put it back in the other corner. I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't. So we're going to start back over and do the same exact thing with A1. You're going to have a little crossover there on the sides with those pinwheels, but it doesn't matter. It looks fine, and actually most of it winds up getting cut off at the end. So I'm going back in, applying just a little light layer with my stencil brush, or not my stencil brush, my blending brush. And it's kind of easy to smooth it in because there's already ink on the stencil. I hope everybody's doing well. It's finally summer. We went right from winter to summer. We didn't really have a spring. That's just pretty usual here in Ohio. Now we're on A2. I just love stuff where you don't really have to think. And you really don't have to think with this. It's almost impossible to mess up. Just get out a bunch of paper and some inks and go play. Now, one of the things I did that I will admit to is I'm too lazy to get up from my table because I have all kinds of cords and all this all around me for my table. and my camera set up and my dryers. There's B1. So I didn't get up and get the 80-pound paper. And I didn't realize this, but I wound up picking up what I believe is 130-pound paper. It may be 110, Nina, but I can't remember, but it definitely was thick, which runs me into problems later. Not with the inking, not just with the die cutting part I'm going to show you. So off we go. It just doesn't get any quicker than this. A 2-year-old could do it. Now we're going to do our last stencil, B2 again. This water media mat from Waffle Flower is really nice because it also kind of holds your paper for you, even if you're not using the corners. But the corners, or you could use a MISTI for this, stick it in the corner. That way you don't have to tape and use the hinge, and you don't have to use, I do like that spray, but this just saves that whole step. So here we go. There is our first panel. Now we're going to go to my fail. I'm taking some Masking Magic, and it's not Masking Magic's fault. It is really, it's a good adhesive, you know, a temporary thing to adhere to a card to cover up what you don't want to stamp over. And there's been, you know, a million versions of this over the years. And now I'm just going to trace, since I can't cut it out with my die cutter, I'm just going to trace all those little bits around the corner. And so I'm going to finish up here. And I do get that little part on the left. It's just a straight cut. And we are going to move on to the Brother Scan and Cut. Now, I am no expert with this. I've used it maybe a total of an hour in my life, and I've had it 3 years. And I swore I was going to learn it. So I'm going to load this into my Brother Scan and Cut and do a direct cut. And what it's going to do is scan it. After it, actually, I have it load here. And now we scan. Now the idea is, instead of having to hand cut that mask, to have a mask ready and just keep it with the stencils and just, I'm good to go. That's the idea. Now you have to kind of center up everything so it knows what the actual cutting area is, because it's picking up lines all over that background as well. The squares and some little cuts that have gone in the mat. And this mat is not the regular mat. It's extra sticky. It's by Dolly, and you can get them on Amazon. I'll try to remember the link below. So see, now it's doing all that wonky stuff. Now we are cooking. So this is cutting the mask, and it should just be wonderful. And it mostly is. But see, it's picking up all those other little things, but it's okay. Not a problem. We're just going to eject this from the Scan and Cut, pull it off, and then you kind of just, there are little tools for this with the Scan and Cut, but that would have required getting up as well. So now I am using the MISTI because I didn't want ink on it and I hadn't cleaned it yet. And I'm just sticking that card in the corner of the MISTI, and then I'm going to cover it with my mask. Isn't that awesome? After this, it's a big fail. I tried to cut it out with that 140-pound paper, and it didn't work. So I rounded off the edges. If you look at that carefully, that is just hand cut. But I just made it round. This is a business, or not business card holder. Well, I guess it could be. It's a gift card holder that I sent to my sister-in-law. Her birthday's actually tomorrow. And it is a mini Slimline. And then the next one, I'm using Simon Says Stamps Sending Smiles die set. And I just love these colors. They're just so happy. Who could not smile when they see this color combination? Then I did something with the green and the blue. See, most of that side's cut off and it doesn't hurt anything. And I used just a few rhinestones. You can go a little nuts with at least I can go a little nuts with rhinestones. And then the final one, I decided just to cut in a diagonal, and then I have this old Spellbinders Blooms 1 die set, and I never thought I would use it, and I'll bet it's every bit of 15 years old. And here we go. I'm using it along with that Sending Smiles again. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, that you'll like, subscribe, tell your friends, and come back and see me. I only put out 1 or 2 videos a month. I'm sorry, I have a crazy work schedule. I design kitchens and people are buying kitchens like they're going out of style. So I should maybe be back in a couple weeks, but this is it for today. Don't forget to follow me on all the social media, Darby Creek Diaries or Gail Thompson. I'm going to leave some videos here for you to tide you over. I have over 100 tutorials in my playlists, so don't forget to check those out. Take care and come back and see me soon. Bye-bye.